From your friends at Five Alive, Jack Bowen, Jerry Harris, Jerry Park, Wayne Shattuck. This is Five Alive News Tonight.
Good evening. The polls have now closed in Oklahoma County and Canadian County tonight, and the results are in the 6 mayoral and nearly a dozen city council races in the metro area. In Oklahoma City, 3 council races took center stage tonight. In Ward 1, the race was between incumbent Bob McCoy and former City Police Chief I.G. Purser, and Purser has won over McCoy by a wide margin. In Ward 3, it was incumbent Jack Cornett against John Sanders, and Cornett was victorious over Sanders again by a pretty wide margin. And in Ward 7, there were several candidates, with incumbent Gory James facing 3 challengers, Jackie Franklin, Norma Burros, and Clyde Madden. Gory James won over the other 3, garnering 1,826 votes.
And in Edmond tonight, Jerry, there's been one city council race, that in Ward 4, and it appears there will be a runoff between Randy Dawkey and Steve Wilkerson. Quickly, the figures, Wilkerson came out with 328. There you see. That's the wrong race. Wilkerson came out with 328 votes, Dawkey 205, and Bob Burnett in third with 187. Again, a runoff between Wilkerson and Dawkey. And in the mayor's race, there you see Carl Rearman coming in second. He's the incumbent mayor, so Yvonne Nichols, it appears, the winner with 2,500 votes. And it appears she has more votes than both Rearman and Inge together. But the question is there or is there not a new mayor in Edmond tonight?
Five Alive's Terry Watkins is at the headquarters of Yvonne Nichols, the leader in the Edmond mayoral race. Terry, there seems to be something of a controversy going on here.
Well, only a very mild one right now, Jerry. As you can see, the supporters for Nichols, a very tired group, has gone home for this evening, and they're preparing probably for an April 2nd runoff. You've got some questions about that. With me is Yvonne Nichols.
Hi, Terry. How are you?
Do you have some questions about the plurality vote in this?
Well, the city charter does not make any specific provision as to what happens when a candidate receives a plurality. In the election this evening, I received 55%. And our charter simply provides that the 2 top candidates will go into a runoff on April the 2nd. And I assume that's what we'll do. And we'll win that one, too.
How are you going to win that one?
We're going to do the same thing that we did in the last 4 months. If you pray for potatoes, you have to reach for a hoe. And my workers have worked endlessly, and we have just an unending amount of support, and we're going to continue to do the same thing.
Okay, thank you very much, Yvonne. Well, while the Nichols supporters here believe they have a winner across town, they aren't admitting defeat. Carl Rearman supporters say they have lost a battle, but they haven't lost the war. The crowds that gathered, and Rearman himself, believe they have their work cut out over the next 2 weeks.
I think that when you consider there are 30,000 voters in Edmond and less than 5,000 showed up to vote today, there's still an opportunity for us on April 2nd to pull this out. I think what we have to do is go out and talk to the voters, and we have to show the voters that my opponent's been making promises that she cannot keep, and during the next 2 weeks, we're going to hear a lot about those.
The way you run your campaign?
Yes,
You knew he wouldn't.
I didn't knock anybody. They knocked each other. I tried to give a little program that I thought was progressive. And if that's not what the people want, that's fine.
So from all appearances right now, there will be an April 2nd runoff between Yvonne Nichols and Mayor Carl Rearman. Both of them saying they're going to win that one. Jack and Jerry?
Barry, what do you think? Did the voter turnout today affect the outcome?
Well, the voter turnout in Edmond tonight was about 1% of the registered voters, which is not all that light or really all that moderate for a city council. It's pretty normal. So basically now what we're going to see is just which candidate outworks which candidate. Jack and Jerry?
Okay, thanks, Terry. Now, in other mayoral races in Oklahoma County, in Bethany, it's James Faulkner over C.C. Kuykendall. In Del City, Mike Chavez over Carol McElvoy. In Nakoma Park, Leland Fox over John Cutshaw. And in War Acres, it's John Rost over Gary Cohen.
Now in national politics, President Reagan is halfway to an MX missile victory tonight. Today he went to Capitol Hill to lobby senators to vote to build 21 of the missiles in fiscal 1985. Later, the Republican-controlled Senate voted to spend $1.5 billion for the project. Now the issue goes to the Democratic-controlled House for a vote scheduled next week.
The 4.5-year-old war between Iran and Iraq is continuing to escalate tonight, with both sides claiming attacks on the other country's cities. Iraq reports air assaults on 5 Iranian cities, while Iran claims another of its rockets hit Baghdad. And hundreds of foreigners have left Tehran after the Baghdad government threatened to shoot down commercial airliners starting tonight. Meanwhile, leaders of the Arab countries in the Persian Gulf are prepared to send in a mediation team to settle the war.
Still to come on 5 Alive News tonight, there's a split level in the construction industry.
And a possible end to an enforced separation between depositor and his money. Those stories and more next.
Some bad news for the housing industry tonight. Housing starts, the number of new construction projects on homes, dropped 11% nationwide last month. Here in Oklahoma, the numbers are way down too. But it's mostly because the market is trying to let demand catch up with supply. Oklahoma doesn't have a true glut, but there certainly is a surplus, and it's reflected in the housing figures the past 2 years. In 1983, about 15,000 new homes were built in our state, but last year the number dropped below 10,000. Home builders think turning that figure around will be tough.
Last to recover out of this nation in economic development and the recession. Now we see ourselves at the bottom, and we got to grab, everybody's got to work at this and pull ourselves out.
To make matters worse, interest rates have already begun rising some, and banks are beginning to tighten credit, so some prospective buyers are deciding not to wait any longer.
But tonight is as good a time as any to invest in a house. While that may seem a bit overzealous, realtors are extremely excited about the current housing situation. Interest rates are at levels they haven't been at in years, and the prices of homes make it for a buying market.
The house prices have moderated. As we know, inflation is down, and the availability of mortgage money at very modest rates is available. So this is a great time for a home owner or a home buyer to purchase a home.
There is still hope that interest rates will fall further, but Gamble says people are really tired of waiting. In Oklahoma City, you can find apartments galore, but tenants to fill them aren't so plentiful. Members of the Apartment Association of Central Oklahoma say the supply far outweighs the demand, and it could take 5 to 7 years before it balances out. The apartment glut is the cause of a sharp decline in apartment construction starts. The U.S. Commerce Department reports nationally new building plunged 36.6% in February. In Oklahoma City, construction peaked in 1983, just when the oil industry hit rock bottom. In '83, 651 building permits were issued. More than 7,000 apartments were built. In '84, less than 300 permits were issued for an additional 4,000 units. There are now 75,000 apartments in Oklahoma City, and Apartment Association members say that's 3 times more than the community needs.
Here's something to look forward to tonight. St. Louis-based Ozark Airlines is coming to Oklahoma City with more reduced airfares. Starting April 15th, you'll be able to go to St. Louis for $99 one way. Ozark normally charges $199 for that trip. The airline will offer 3 flights a day back and forth and 138 flights a day from St. Louis to more than 60 other cities around the country. An attempt to buy Frontier Airlines is still pending tonight. A Tulsa-based group representing Frontier employees and other investors is asking for 60 more days to put together financing. Frontier lost $31 million last year. Jerry?
In Ohio tonight, lawmakers are still trying to come to agreement on a bill to reopen privately insured savings and loan associations. 69 of them remain closed since Friday by a gubernatorial order after the collapse of a Cincinnati thrift. Governor Richard Celeste is trying to get federal regulators to insure the shutdown banks to prevent a run on deposits.
Still to come on 5 Alive News tonight, Wayne Shattuck says a flash flood watch covers most of the Sooner State. Stay with us.
Fire sale! Fire sale! Hold it! Nothing's on fire! The boss said move them out or we're fired. Get it? Oh, you mean we have hot deals? That's right, and no reasonable offer will be refused. We'd better look at some unreasonable offers. You're right, so come on in now and save hundreds of dollars at Reynolds Ford in Norman during our fire sale. Don't look at me, I didn't do it.
Reynolds Ford.
If you don't buy your furniture from Bob Garrett's, you'll be throwing your money away. Big money, because we consistently have the lowest prices around. Visit the other stores, get their best prices, then hurry to 301 Southwestern where you'll save on every item, not just a few advertised specials. And our interest rates are the lowest in town. And you may qualify for $2,500 instant credit with no money down. We're open every night till 8 and Sundays from 1 to 6 at Bob Garrett Furniture, 301 Southwestern.
Going to need umbrellas tonight and maybe more,
yeah.
huh?
It is raining over many, many sections of Oklahoma right now. We're going to continue to have rain. Some of it may be very heavy, enough so that flash flood watches have been posted over a good deal of the state. We'll show you just where a little bit later. But right now, light rain is falling in Oklahoma City. We do have 55 degrees. And our winds are out of the east at 13 miles per hour. The relative humidity 93%. Barometric pressure 2993 and steady. Our satellite picture tonight shows all of Oklahoma engulfed by cloudiness, and under much of this cloud cover there is rain falling. You can see it on the National Weather Service radar. Look at this. Much of the state covered by rain. We have no official amounts yet. This rain started in the metro area at about 7 o'clock tonight. Here at 5 Alive, we reported a quarter of an inch of rain so far, and much more is yet to come. The only good thing I can tell you about this is it's light to moderate. There's no heavy weather, no severe thunderstorms anywhere in the state tonight. We're not expecting any across the state this evening. Our highs today in the state were pretty mild, 60s and 70s all over Oklahoma. Oklahoma City had 66 for a high today. And this evening we are not dropping fast, still 50s and some 60s being reported. Winds out of the east-southeast at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Now, I want to show you our satellite picture across the entire country. You can see very quickly we have one big patch of cloudiness in the central part of the country, right in our backyard. And that's the main weather system going on in the country right now. What we have happening is, first of all, at the surface, we have high pressure to the east of us, low pressure to the west of us, and that is sucking up tons and tons of moisture out of the Gulf. Now that, working in tandem with an upper level low over the eastern sections of New Mexico, is helping to produce the precipitation in Texas and Oklahoma tonight. As the upper level low moves eastward, that rain shower activity will continue, and some of it possibly could be heavy. In the southern one half of Oklahoma, we could have up to and maybe just over 2 inches of rain. And that's the reason for the flash flood watch for tonight and tomorrow. Here's the precipitation tonight from Texas all the way back up into New Mexico, Oklahoma. Here's a very narrow band of lighter shower activity up the Ohio Valley. It turns into snow in parts of New York State, a little more additional snow in northern sections of Maine, and some snow and rain in sections of Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and southern sections of Utah. Also, mostly rain in the Pacific Northwest, up around Stampede Pass. They're getting a little bit of snow. And now our advisories tonight, again, the flash flood watch for the southern one half of Oklahoma. Travelers advisories for mountain snows in much of New Mexico for this evening. Tomorrow, our forecast map shows rain in the Pacific Northwest, rain and snow in parts of Utah, or rather Idaho and Montana, and then that big band of rain from Oklahoma and North Texas eastward to the central and southern Appalachians. For Oklahoma tonight, again, the shaded area, including Oklahoma City, is in a flash flood watch for tonight. Lots of rain expected in the state, lows from the upper 30s to the mid 50s. Tomorrow, the flash flood watch will be dropped in the southwestern parts of the state. Our highs will be from the upper 40s to near 60. Here's the Oklahoma City forecast. For tonight, rain, thunderstorms, a low of 48 degrees, easterly winds at 10 to 20. Tomorrow, more rain and thunderstorms, 55 for a high, northeasterly winds at 10 to 20. Now, the rain will be ending sometime tomorrow night. We'll have a low of 40 degrees with northerly winds at 7 to 15. Then, partly cloudy on Thursday, 60 degrees, partly cloudy 64 on Friday, and another system hits us on Saturday, thunderstorms and 66 degrees. Again, no severe weather in the state tonight, but we could end up with some pretty heavy rainfall amounts.
Okay. Well, we've had a nice breather in between.
That's right.
Nice highs, too. There's celebration in San Juan Capistrano, California tonight. The Swallows return to the old mission there today, as they have since the 1700s.
Come back to Capistrano. That's the day you promised to come back to me. When you whispered farewell in Capistrano.
Still to come on 5 Alive News tonight, a baby war. We'll explain. Stay with us.
Muffins. Spread the word. 1 block east of Meridian, behind Applewoods on Reno.
You always always get a great deal on a tough Chevy truck at your Metro 7 Chevy dealers. But for a limited time, you'll also get 8.8% GMAC financing, which could save you up to $2,000 in finance charges. And you can get free air conditioning. 8.8% financing, free air conditioning. Two great reasons to see your Metro 7 Chevy dealer now.
Get the spirit, that Chevy saving spirit, that Metro 7 Chevy dealer difference. Come see the difference.
Fresh, clean, spectacular. North Park is out to color you spring. Dab on yellow. Brush on teal. Splash on fuchsia. Spring. We're in full color at the park. North Park Mall.
Street repairs due to excavation can be a real headache because settling dirt requires repatching time and time again. But now, Ditch Witch helps you avoid these problems with Permasoil, the revolutionary soil stabilizer that gets the job done the first time. Permasoil works because it dries, bonds, and strengthens all types of soils, which prevents settling under repair sites. Best of all, traffic can resume almost immediately. Permasoil from Ditch Witch, now available through a special introductory offer.
Expectant parents are being torn by a new kind of competition between hospitals on the north side of Oklahoma City and Edmond tonight. The competition is crib clubs. Clubs offer free gifts, free childbirth and care classes, and even hairstyling for mom. Part of their goal is to educate parents about their upcoming baby, but a large part of it is to entice the baby business, which is usually up for grabs.
Quite often when people come up with an illness or in need of a surgical procedure, they go to a specialist or they go to a physician, and then he tells them where he practices and where they would go for hospitalization. Having a baby is something that you know about at least 8 months in advance, and so there's a little more time to decide where you want to be.
In this battle for the babies, the casualties are light, and the winners get the most beautiful prize of all, a newborn infant. Another baby trend is picking up momentum across the city. It's the idea of keeping the mother and baby together as soon after birth as possible. Deaconess Hospital has begun moving baby in with mom 12 hours after birth. A nurse then takes care of them both, letting the parents watch the care for the infant so they can duplicate it at home.
Some sad news tonight. A 2-year-old Midwest City girl is dead after receiving burns on more than 70% of her body. Young Kara Rode was safely outside her home, but then re-entered today. A man went in after her to try to rescue Kara, but he received burns and is listed in serious condition. Firemen say the child may have re-entered her burning home to retrieve a security blanket. Investigators are still trying tonight to identify a murder victim. The body of a woman believed to be in her mid-50s was found along the Turner Turnpike today. The corpse was at the bottom of a 40-foot embankment, 12 miles east of the Turnpike's Oklahoma City gate. The victim had been stabbed several times.
War Acres police have arrested a 66-year-old Oklahoma City man in connection with a hit-and-run fatality late last night. 21-year-old Bobby Ray Dunham's motorcycle fell over last night on the Northwest Expressway. As he set it aright, Dunham was hit and dragged more than 200 feet. He was pronounced dead at a local hospital. Police still want to question a possible witness, described as a woman with blonde hair driving a large brown 4-door sedan. The woman was seen stopped at the scene of the accident. She's being asked to contact the War Acres Police Department as soon as possible. Well, on a much brighter note in sports, basketball has Dr. J and baseball has its Dr. K. Jerry Park will have that and more coming up.
If you're looking for value and price, come into Decorative Center at Reno and MacArthur tomorrow. Here's just a sample of what you'll find. This is a full 90-inch sofa, today's styles, today's colors. Normally you'd pay $599. Come in tomorrow, it's just $348. Matching love seat, just $297. If you need the sleeper sofa, $398. Here's the perfect accent chair. It glides, it swivels, very limited quantities on these. Come in tomorrow, just $248. Decorative Center, where we make you the very best furniture buy.
The Norman City Council has voted 6-3 tonight to keep its city manager. That decision came at a public council meeting. City Manager Jim Crosby has this reaction.
I would just like to say Well, I'm very pleased that the council voted to retain me, and I think, as I stated all along, we've done nothing wrong. We've done our best to serve the public interest and to serve the public, and feel it's time that we put our differences aside and move forward.
And the vote was 6-3 to retain Jim Crosby. Well, some voting on baseball rankings. It sounds like some respect for some Oklahoma teams.
There certainly was, but it seems like there were more voters in Miami and down in Texas than there were in Norman in the baseball poll. Major college baseball rankings have Oklahoma rated 3rd and Oklahoma State 12th, with Miami of Florida 1st and the University of Texas 2nd. The Sooners today played in their home park for the first time in a long time, taking a 7-1 win from Oklahoma City University. Pitching today for the Sooners was Olympian Bobby Witt. He pitched 8 innings, gave up only 4 hits, and struck out 11. Witt ran his record to 2-0 this season. The Sooners now 17-1. Next for Oklahoma, doubleheader Thursday with North Texas State. OSU hosts Wichita State, in a single game tomorrow. Around the New York City area, they have a new hero. They call him Dr. K, and he's just barely out of his teens, but already he's a superstar. The National League Rookie of the Year is using a new pitch this spring. Dwight Gooden is trying to add a changeup to his repertoire of fastball and curveball. Using these 2 pitches last season, he set a major league record for strikeouts by a rookie, fanning 276. This season, Gary Carter will be catching Gooden, and the Met 20-year-old pitcher expects a lot of help from Carter.
So it's been, a lot of stealing bases, and now I'm more relaxing with him. He's going to just intimidate runners by just sitting back there.
Gooden captured the imagination of New York baseball fans with his strikeouts. Every time Gooden got a strikeout, a K would be tacked up at Shea Stadium. Gooden claims he's just thinking about outs, not strikeouts.
In the game, I don't really find how many strikeouts got to. After the game, I find out how many strikeouts, and then how many walks, and how many wild pitches I threw. Then I worry about that. I never really got into it till one day I was in the dugout, and between innings, and I happened to look up and see the K's in the corner, and it was thrilling. I think it's something nice to get the fans going, and when you got the fans like that on your bike, it's just a tremendous feeling to have.
Well, at only 20 years of age, Dwight Gooden is the most talked-about pitcher in baseball and the owner of a brand-new contract that will pay him a minimum of $350,000 this season.
Yeah, it's been all, moving pretty rapidly, and a lot of things you just think whether you're sleeping or is it really going on, and something to think about, but you don't really want to get caught up in it. Just some things that make you want to work your much harder.
That was Dwight Gooden. Well, there are problems in New York tonight for a former New York Yankees star. Joe Pepitone was arrested early today for possession of cocaine and a handgun. Police arrested 3 men when their car was stopped after running a red light. A policeman said he was surprised when one of the men identified himself.
Recognize him? He said, "I'm Joe Pepitone." He was wearing a cowboy hat. I looked at him, and he was Joe Pepitone.
3 NAIA coaches are looking for work tonight. Bob Banfield, men's coach at OBU, leaves after 7 years, saying he feels the school is de-emphasizing basketball. And the OBU women's coach, David Shannon, also quit after only a year. And Panhandle's Ed Weidenbach has resigned to go back to school. United Press International has named its Coach of the Year in major college basketball. The choice is Lou Carnesecca of St. John's. Funny-looking sweater and all. Well, Thursday afternoon in Dallas, Oklahoma and Louisiana Tech in the Midwest Regional of the NCAA basketball tournament. Tech doesn't think that anybody can beat them twice in one season. Mick Cornett has more.
Oklahoma shut down Louisiana Tech in the first meeting, winning 84-72. Despite an occasional dunk, it was an off night for Wayman Tisdale, and it was also an off night for Bulldog star Karl Malone.
I think he's very big. He's about 6'9", 255. No, I think he's a great player. I played against him in the Pan American trials, and I'm not sure if he was at the Olympic trials. I don't remember too much. All I remember is Coach Knight, but I remember at the Pan American trials, and him and I guarded each other the last day of the trials, and I had 23, he had 22, so I guess it's going to be a battle from now on out.
The Sooners are favored to beat the Bulldogs again, but few expect it to be a 12-point win like last time. Tech has lost only twice this season. They don't feel like they'll wind up losing twice to Oklahoma. Mick Cornett, 5 Alive Sports.
The game is set for a 5:30, that's right, 5:30 p.m. tip-off in Dallas. And finally tonight, it pays to play pro football, especially if you make it to the Super Bowl. Well, they've split up the money this year. Winning 49ers got $64,000 a player. Second place Dolphins got $44,000 each. And even the wild card teams did all right, about $6,000 a player. But the Dallas Cowboys, and those who didn't make the playoffs, didn't get anything but their high salaries.
It's incentive to get there next year, though, isn't it?
That's right. You know, $64,000 to a guy who makes $800,000 a year doesn't seem like a whole lot. But it's the prestige of the thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of prestige in $64,000.
Must be nice.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Not
no
bad.
kidding.
Many teachers tonight are preparing for their school day tomorrow. How much time they spend at it is an indication of the dedication it takes to teach school. That is also a question on a recently completed survey by the Oklahoma Education Association. 44,000 teachers were polled on why they became educators. Would they still be a teacher if they could do it all over again? And what makes them stay? It's an effort to find out the morale of teachers and what can be done to improve it.
Coming up on 5 Alive News tonight, airborne messages could be worth big money. Stay with us.
Going to have to dodge the raindrops going home tonight, huh?
Keep that umbrella out,
That's
right,
right.
Wade?
That's exactly right. Pretty wet. But I want to give you something else to think about. There's something special tomorrow, and we want to show you what it is. Spring begins tomorrow, officially at 10:14 a.m., but it's coming in on a soggy note. We've got lots of rain between now and tomorrow night, so much so that there is a flash flood watch for the southern one half of the state, and it includes Oklahoma City. Jerry?
When there was a first last night of the USFL football game between Houston and Denver, it seems that Jim Kelly threw a pass to Vince Courville. The referees said that it was complete, so Mouse Davis protested. And upon watching the replay, they said, "Mouse, you're right. He was out of bounds." It's the first time that they've overturned a referee's decision by watching replay. So it does work, I guess.
That really does, especially, I guess, on the really flagrant stuff.
It really does.
Finally, some young Oklahoma City students are wondering tonight if they'll win a $500 prize for their school. Kindergarten students and first graders at Millwood Primary School sent their return addresses out by air mail today. This balloon release program is part of a nationwide program. The one that's returned from the farthest away will earn a $500 prize for the school where it was released.
That's nice.
Maybe one will get to Australia. You think so?
There's no telling with our wind. No telling.
Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
Good night.